What's up, everybody? This is the Anime Squad podcast, and long time no see, guys. That's right, we're back. The Anime Squad podcast is back. I'm Robbie.
And this is David.
Yep, and now, as you all know, an Anime Squad podcast usually consists of 3 of us or 4 of us. Unfortunately for this season, for our big comeback, we're just mostly testing the waters, and with that, we're just gonna be me and David right here. No Omar, sadly, for this season yet. Hopefully, if all things goes well with our big comeback, he'll be coming back with us. And for longer time listeners of the podcast, Josh is also a maybe might be a familiar name to you guys. He's also expected to also make a return for next season as well, but it all just depends on how the season goes. And I'm excited to be back. This is long time for me coming back, and it feels nice to be doing this again.
I guess in a sense we're kind of changing our strategies again. So now we are gonna kind of have a turn now. So we're gonna have different videos in a way. So not only you don't get one video, you get 3 videos.
That's right.
And I guess I'll explain what's coming up.
Mm-hmm.
So the first video, of course, is the top 5 shows of the week, basically. So it'll be the top shows that we think are the best of the show of the season, and we're gonna go with those for the whole entirety of the season. Yes, so that'll be video 1, and it'll be included as well as news and video game news, because we love talking about news, or I mean anime news in general. So can't wait to talk about news again as well.
Yeah, no, it's been a long time coming. If you're new to the channel, that's just kind of the vibe that we are. This is mostly a podcast about us friends talking about seasonal anime, weekly video game news, basically what David stated. But we're going to try to keep things more concise, not have our seasonal list of anime be as bloated as they were recently. So we're trying to make it so that we talk about the stuff that we all really enjoy. Keep it to that. Keep it to the topics that we kind of want to talk about. Kind of give you guys more of an insight as to kind of like what makes us tick, I guess.
And that's and also to conclude that first episode in general, that would be basically us. No, if you guys have any shows that you really like, damn, you guys should be watching that show. You should we'll probably have a video before, like every season, what's gonna be our top 5, and then you guys could give us your like top 5 as well.
Absolutely, yeah. So
it could give us maybe we'll check it out.
Yeah, we are completely open to any and all comments. If you guys have any kind of
negative
shows that you guys
or positive,
exactly, any kind of feedback is much appreciated. Whether we have anything to improve on, anything that you guys think, oh man, you guys should hone in on something that we've been talking about. Even any shows that we might have missed out on. Feel free to drop it over into the comments. Let us know. I guess while you're all at it, if you guys like what you're seeing right here, with us coming back, feel free to give us a good old like, subscribe to the channel, and also feel free to hit the notification bell to be informed whenever we upload. It really helps us out, and kind of gives us that motivating drive to kind of like keep going, knowing that we're here for you guys.
Yeah. And I guess the second video the week as well is topical. So topical questions, basically, what comes in our minds in general, like, topics of animes we want to talk about, like what's Rabbi's favorite tsundere or debate, we'll debate amongst each other. So this episode and that this episode in particular is just us having conversations on, I guess, questions we have in our minds.
Yeah,
in general.
Exactly. And also, one last thing to wrap up before we continue on with the video. All of our videos, both past and as well as coming up, we all have timestamps. So if there's any particular topic or any particular anime that you guys want to hear from us, or something that catches your eye, we have timestamps both on the actual time bar itself as well as the description. So feel free to give that check that out, and just in case.
And I guess here's the final one, basically extras. So for whatever on the top 5 didn't you didn't see the shows you wanted to, you might see them on the extras. Those are the shows that we didn't put on, like, they're not up there, but we're still looking forward to the shows.
Yeah.
So and also extras includes full seasons. Like Netflix tends to put like the whole entire season of a show, or maybe a film, an anime film we look forward to throughout the year. We'll probably talk about it here. And then of course Sunday shows where we can't talk about them on the top 5s, but we could talk about them on the extras.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, so regardless, we're excited to be back. We're excited to kind of bring this all back together, and just let us know what you think. Hope you guys enjoy.
Yep.
And I guess to kind of kick things off with our inaugural episode back, this is going to be our first episode on talking about topics. I have a list right here of 4 topics that I want to talk to you. I want to talk to you guys about, and just kind of like discuss with David here. And these are kind of like these have kind of been stewing on my mind for the past few months that we haven't been here. So first things first, David. Topic number 1: what counts as anime? This is kind of an idea that I've kind of had in my mind, because way back in the day, before we had shows like Avatar: The Last Airbender. We had shows like Panty and Stocking, that's like was obviously made in Japan, but it has more like of a cartoony kind of like appearance. But now it's like anything goes. The biggest show that came out recently was the Scott Pilgrim anime that
got talked about a lot.
It got talked about a lot, particularly because one of the biggest list websites, My Anime List, they straight up don't have Scott Pilgrim as listed.
And the weird part about it too is that they don't consider it because it's written here, I guess.
Yeah.
But it was technically made in Japan.
It is, yeah. There's Science Saru, that's the main production company behind it. A lot of the producers, a lot of the writers, all of them are Japanese. So if you look at it, if you look at the style and like the actual show itself, it's pretty much an anime. But that's kind of wild to think that that has to even be argued.
I know, it's so weird. Like, to tell you the truth, animation it's all over the place.
It really is.
The thing is that I consider shows even that aren't anime sometimes anime at times, because they really connect with you.
They really do. And like the thing is that like I feel like anime now is just, it's such a broad kind of spectrum to just kind of like say what even counts as anime, because for me in particular, anime is pretty much what, it's kind of a weird thing to say. I feel like anime can pretty much be whatever you kind of
just animation.
Yeah, exactly. It's animation.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it is at the end of the day. That's what anime is even short for in general. It's just animation. Yeah. But that's just how Japan says, animation. Like if you go to like, if you watch any Western cartoon in Japan, they just call it anime. But it's just the Western definition is just kind of all over the place, because we just kind of listed it as, oh, this is anime, this isn't anime. So it's just kind of what it is. It's kind of whatever kind of floats your boat as to kind of what anime is. For me,
Yeah, to tell you the truth, when I was young, in general, like I didn't know what anime was. It was
same.
So it was just cartoons to me. So
exactly same.
I was watching Gundam or Hamtaro or other shows.
I think
Dragon Ball. They all were cartoons to me.
I'm with you on that. I think for me the biggest like kind of wake up call, I don't know if you want to call it that, for me, because I grew up watching religiously Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, all that stuff, and obviously one of the biggest shows in Cartoon Network I would watch is Dragon Ball Z. And I think for me the biggest wake up call when I was watching Dragon Ball Z was that like David, I don't know if you remember, but like Cartoon Network had a lot of like bumpers, so they had like Courage the Cowardly Dog, and they had like Powerpuff Girls, and like especially when like in the early 2000s, they had like the CN bumpers where it's like they were living in a city. You see like Johnny Bravo hanging out with Samurai Jack and like all these other like cartoons like hanging out with each other.
Oh yeah.
And one thing that I always noticed, despite like how hugely popular Dragon Ball Z was there was no Dragon Ball Z. I was like, wait a minute. All these big cartoons like kind of like hanging out with each other, like you have Flintstones, Scooby-Doo, like Courage, all them like hanging out with each other. But where's my man Goku? Where's Vegeta? Where's Gohan?
Damn.
Where's any of them? And like it was the same thing when I was watching Yu Yu Hakusho, or when I was watching what was it? Gundam. None of them were like interacting with each other. So I was like, where are they at?
So I guess when that happened to you, to me in general, it was weird because I'm like, you know what? They're probably because of the Family Guys and South, like at that range of South.
So
Park
they were more adult oriented, probably.
Yeah. So I thought of it like that since
I could see that.
Adult Swim was a thing.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. I think what kind of worked with Adult Swim's case though was that when you had like shows like Cowboy Bebop or Inuyasha, they didn't really do a lot of bumpers, at least not like early on, to where they're like interacting with each other. So like you had like Aqua Teen Hunger Force like immediately follow up with Cowboy Bebop. It's like you don't really see like them having to interact. But I see where you're coming from though.
No, but for me wise, no, even during when I was younger, I didn't know anime in general. You get me?
Yeah.
Or Japanese animation, whatever.
Yeah. You don't really think about that as a kid, know, because because you and I we're both roughly the same age, so we grew up watching we grew up watching just not just anime, but just cartoons in general, like in the early late 90s, early 2000s, going on to the 2000s. So
and then when I started reading manga, to me it was comics.
Yeah, that's true.
So when I read Death Note, I thought it was a comic, or when I read Naruto, it was a comic to me.
Dude, you talking about that reminded me of like, because so one of the things like early on, obviously, when you catch it, is the fact that they're all backwards.
Yeah.
So
that was weird. As a kid, I was like, what is this?
Yeah. So like for me, like reading, like getting into Inuyasha through the manga. So what's funny was that like, even though everything was backwards, I was like, oh, cool. I caught that on pretty much immediately. What I didn't catch on though was the actual text bubbles, or like the panel to panel word bubbles. I still thought it was left to right. And I was thinking I was pretty much on that for like a good year or so before I realized, oh wait, I'm not reading this right. The paneling is also right to left. I didn't put that together. So it's happened. But it's just that distinction between anime and cartoons. It's like it's a lot less and less, and like I think what kind of made it worse, especially with our generation, is when Teen Titans came out, and like you said, you had like shows like Avatar, and I don't know if you remember Kappa Mikey, but a lot of these like shows had clearly had a lot of like Japanese influence.
Symbiotic Titan,
Mega XLR, that was like a pretty much like a cartoon, a mecha put into cartoon form. That kind of like that kind of made the gap even more and more in terms of understanding what made an anime. Even back then as a kid.
I felt like from all the shows that I saw, I think Symbiotic Titan felt like an anime.
Yeah, it really did.
No, a Japanese anime. I gotta say.
Right. Yeah,
like
yeah.
a Japanese anime, because there was drama. There's mechas. There's destruction. There's high schoolers having trouble.
I know. I don't know if you remember the anime Big O, but that one was also another one where it's like, I think even like around that time when I was like understanding the difference between like anime and like cartoons. Big O was kind of one of those shows that like it didn't really like hit me like as a kid that hey this is an anime, because the main character was pretty much just Bruce Wayne.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is that we also use Japan for animation as well. So
yeah,
Batman series was
TMS. TMS helped out with a lot of the key moments of the original Batman animated series, like the whole scene with Clayface when he's like spinning around and like kind of losing control. That was done by a really well known. I don't remember the name of the animator in particular, but he worked on Lupin in particular. Like he's a really like famous Lupin animator. But yeah, he worked on that scene, and then there's also another scene. I believe with Bane. I think when he got the Venom taken out, he's like, "I'm Bane." That one was also worked by him too. So yeah, no, there's so much out there, like old cartoons from like the 90s, 80s, even like especially like the early 80s. But all done by TMS.
But I guess now that it's getting more like we're getting more like. I guess more Japanese kind of ornate. I can't say the word.
Like original series, right?
Yeah,
or not original series, but
inspired.
Inspiration. Yeah.
So like the Dracula movie. I mean Dracula show. The what's it called? Castlevania.
Castlevania. Yeah.
Other shows too.
Yeah, because Castlevania, I do agree with you, because Castlevania was one of those shows that pretty much had like a full-on American team, but was still like considered like an anime because of just how stylized everything was. Like it pretty much was like the adult version of kind of like what you would expect like Avatar: The Last Airbender to be like.
And yeah, I'm trying to remember. There's more shows.
Voltron also. Voltron. Yeah, the Voltron remake. That one was also like a big one. Yeah, there's a bunch. Yeah, there's a bunch out there.
Vox Machina.
Yeah. I know this might be kind of like a I know I forgot what video it was that I saw, but someone said that Invincible was pretty much like an American like shonen, if you think about it, because a lot of kind of like what happens to like Mark and like with the whole storyline with Omni-Man and like the Viltrumites and stuff like that is pretty much like you can pretty much adapt that into like you could pretty much adapt that into like an anime, and it wouldn't be out of place. And if I was thinking about that, I'm like, oh yeah, I guess so.
Because Goku and Superman have similarities.
Oh yeah. And if you literally cross them together, you get Viltrumites. you take the Superman like powers like that Kryptonians have, and then you combine it with how Saiyans take over planets and how they're evil, and then you get Viltrumites. You get the Viltrum Empire.
That's crazy, right?
Yeah. Except their planet is still alive and well.
No, but yeah. To me, it doesn't bug me.
Yeah.
What shows count as anime or American or Western?
Same
animation.
here. Like I feel like, again, because of just how little distinction there are, anime at this point is just kind of like how you see it.
No, but I guess the big thing for me now is that hey, now there's shows that come from this side that people are looking forward to.
Oh yeah.
Because back then, what did we have? Just South Park and
yeah.
Family Guide or Archie? No, what's
You think about like Archer?
Archer, yeah.
Archer, yeah.
Yeah, like other shows. Like I guess they were just centered.
Oh my God, we forgot to talk about the Boondocks.
A Boondocks.
The Boondocks is like
There
a
you go.
huge one that's like just straight up. It's straight up inspired by like Samurai Champloo and like Afro Samurai.
Oh yeah.
That was a huge one. I can't believe I almost forgot about that. Talking about like
Hey, we're talking about
anime.
we're talking about shows that are getting close to that.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is true.
And what's
Man,
it's impressive now that we're getting there as well too, man.
I think the thing that like I feel like people should focus on more is just the variety. Oh, and Star Wars Visions, that's also another one.
Oh yeah.
I forgot about that one. Yeah, because
that one's for multiple people.
Oh yeah,
Not even Japanese.
season 2. Yeah, season 2
yeah.
in particular. Yeah, it's all over. Like it's all international now.
Yeah, and then like you said, the first Visions was basically Star Wars is from here.
Yeah,
Story is from here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not the story, but the universe of it.
It's interesting you say that because it's pretty much like that first season of Star Wars Visions was pretty much, it kind of came full circle because George Lucas had mentioned earlier that he was kind of inspired by old like samurai like movies and stuff made in Japan at the time. So he was really inspired by like Seven Samurai, Yojimbo, all those other movies and stuff. So he took a lot of inspiration from those style of movies and applied it to Star Wars when he was writing it. So
and now it went full circle.
It went full circle, exactly.
Yeah, you're right. Yep.
Yeah, Akira Kurosawa. Yeah, he was super like Akira. He was super like inspired by Akira Kurosawa in particular. He talks about Kurosawa like quite a few times too throughout. So,
but yeah, I feel like shows should be all like a Western show should be also count as anime.
I agree.
It could go from either or side. It don't matter.
I think
at least that's hopefully the shows are good. That's what I'm. That's the important thing.
Quality, exactly.
Yeah.
As long as we get quality shows, as long as we get like shows that are meaningful, that's what counts the most.
Yeah. And I guess the only show that popped up recently that was really talked about was basically what was it?
Scott Pilgrim.
Scott Pilgrim. Yeah.
Yeah, Scott Pilgrim. That was pretty much like I said in the beginning. That was pretty much like the one that caught my eye. Was like, hey, what counts as anime? Because like I said, my anime list, they refused to put that on their page. So that was something that I had to kind of throw out there. I'm glad I did. My list. Moving on to our next topic, right here, and I immediately thought about this. Topic, given how many we've been getting recently in recent years, is what classic anime deserve remakes. This is something that I thought about because of, as you all may know. This season is home to the Spice and Wolf remake, which is a remake of a classic 2008 anime that unfortunately never got a proper ending at the time.
No,
so
sir.
This is this franchise's redemption arc, in that it's finally going to be adapting the full story that fans should have received years ago. So, and the reason why this topic also came to mind besides Spice and Wolf was also another anime that I'm also concurrently watching, and I believe you are too as well, David, is Urusei Yatsura, which was an anime originally coming out way back in the 80s that I had somewhat recently have seen. I've seen it a couple of years ago.
Yeah, you saw the original. And
literally, I saw the original like in 2021. And then it got announced for a remake literally the next year.
By David Productions.
By David Productions, baby.
It's crazy to see how these studios take on these challenges.
Yeah. Like David Productions has pretty much proving themselves to be like the go-to studio to make
and I guess
do remakes and stuff.
And that's the thing with what you said earlier. Sometimes it's good to have a remake, sometimes it's not. But I feel like maybe making it your own, having the source material, is not that bad too. Because with the show you said, what was it called?
Urusei Yatsura?
Yes.
Yeah.
But that show in general is not following it by the book, you know. It's going.
Yeah.
They're creating their story similar to it.
Right. As far as I know, like the story that actually, the version that actually took more liberties was actually the original. Because the original had
so it's following the actual.
It's following more closely to the manga because this new one's following more closely to the manga because the manga's been over for decades, whereas the original anime, the manga was still going on, and the anime series even ended before the manga ended.
Redact what I said then.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But however, though, the original series did get a proper ending via the 5th movie. But this one is just basically trying to make it so that, okay, we're just going to condense everything in this 43 episode package and just kind of like make that its own thing.
So having, I guess for remakes in general, they're trying to recover
it's a
what
different
they did.
Flavor. It's a different flavor for sure.
Kind of like how Brotherhood.
Yes.
Full Metal Alchemist to Brotherhood.
Yes. That one's a whole other can of worms because of just how that was handled. I have like kind of firsthand experience showing Josh actually Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood just right off the bat without showing him like the original. And just kind of seeing his reaction because I've seen the original way back when, and then going from there to going to Brotherhood. So a lot of what happened in that first half of the first series is like all fresh in my head. So seeing this sped through was appreciated for me because I had already seen the original. But for Josh, it was interesting because he had never seen the original. So he's just kind of rapid fire going one story beat after another.
Because everything was new to him, right?
Yeah, so he was like, what is going on? This is going so fast. So it's definitely like a perspective thing for sure, especially when it comes to remakes.
I think it was fine how it started. I don't think I lost that much.
No. You get a good gist of what's happening. I think there's like a few characters, and I don't want to go into spoilers. Like this is the last thing I want to do for anybody new to the podcast. It's like, hey, I'm interested in watching.
Ready to spoil
Full Metal Alchemist. No, there's a couple character related moments. I want to just keep it like that, just kind of tied up in a bow. That happened throughout the beginning of Brotherhood that was way more fleshed out in the original. So that in particular, I felt like was handled way better in the original. So watching it again, I was like, man, I wish they kind of like had more time to stew with this one, but it is what it is. When this anime was made with a purpose, it kind of fulfilled it via the first version of the anime. But actually, speaking of like Brotherhood, this is something I've actually been meaning to talk about for a while. But in terms of an anime really needing a remake of some kind, because pretty much we've been just talking about anime that already has a remake. Soul Eater.
Oh yeah,
that needs a remake.
I remember I read a while back that they were trying to remake it.
Yeah.
That was gonna
believe it.
It needs it.
It desperately needs one. I mean, don't get me wrong, the original is still fantastic to watch. If you don't know anything regarding what happens in the manga, or you just want to have a good time, you just want to have like a good old like shonen action that like neatly wraps up or tries to neatly wrap up in 51 episodes. This is the story for you. Soul Eater is a classic is a classic anime from 15-16 years ago.
No, but
it's still enjoyable to watch today, especially with the fights.
And I guess going back to what you said, I feel like it's important in general to have remakes because then you get someone new that never doesn't want to go back and look into the old show.
Yeah.
So it just comes out recently and it's a perfect way maybe to make them they watch this one and then they go back to watch the old one.
Urusei Yatsura is a great example of that. With the original series, you have to go through like 195 episodes.
A big one. Dragon Ball Z Kai.
Oh yeah.
That one was kind of sped up in a way too.
It was, yeah. Because for the uninitiated, Dragon Ball, or just a lot of most long-running shonen anime in general, have like a huge amount of fillers. Dragon Ball Z was no exception, especially with Dragon Ball Z. But when Kai came out in 2008, that pretty much cut through the fat. It was purely, made to make it so that it's more closely to the manga, and you don't have to worry about any of the filler or most of the filler at all. I think there was like a couple filler that they just kept around, but no, most of the filler was all cut out. But it wasn't a remake though. That's the interesting thing about Kai, is that Kai was pretty much a
remaster.
It was a remaster, exactly. Yeah, they mostly just tried to touch up and clean the actual footage. But for the most part, yeah, like you said, it was a remaster of it. So that's kind of an interesting situation where, like, yeah, other than like the opening and the ending themes, nothing was really remade about it except for like just cleanups, and that's it.
And I guess Fate Stay Night.
Oh,
Unlimited Blade Works.
Oh yeah,
that one got remade a couple times.
Twice, yeah. I think like, well, twice is saying technically 2.5 times.
Because it first started as a film.
Yeah.
And then it became the actual show.
And that was around the time when like the Fate franchise in general was just kind of trading hands. You went from Studio Dean, that was mostly known for their one-off series, which was their 2006 version that adapted the Fate story route.
I know, that's why. No, that's Saber's route, and I want it remade.
Yeah, well, so imagine yourself back in 2006. You're a budding fan of the Fate series, and there's no there's no dedicated adaptation of all your routes. What do? You take the first route and you combine elements of the other two routes and combine it to one.
I want the first one.
I know. You'll probably get it, maybe.
Eventually,
hopefully.
But not by then though, because they're also bringing the last, I think, Type Moon visual novel.
Oh yeah.
So that one's they're gonna animate that one.
Yeah.
So yeah,
they pretty much said was it Ufotable? I was gonna say Unlimited Blade Works, 'cause I keep thinking Unlimited Budget Works. Ufotable pretty much stated that they're pretty much done with Fate, and obviously with their success with Demon Slayer, I mean it's not hard to see why they're done with Fate.
If anything, I feel like remakes and remasters are kind of similar because they're getting upgraded in a way.
Now, my number one question though is, do you think there's any series in particular that you think should not get remade? Because like anything that you think, like, and not just because they came out like a year or two ago, but just like in general, where you're like, no, this right here, you can't redo this again. This can't be touched.
Ah, shit.
I have one, and I think you might know what it is.
To tell you the truth, I don't know, man. I feel like they could really change it to the better. You get me even more. I don't know. To me, I feel like it's always cool to have like Final Fantasy VII remake.
Yeah,
they made it kind of their own by the second part.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know.
So you're saying that
I'm for
remakes?
I'm for remakes or remasters. I don't mind them. It's not gonna hurt or affect the original. You could always just go watch, just like anything else. You could go watch the original. So
yeah.
Even if this one didn't go out right, you could still go back to the original.
Yeah.
That's how I think.
I can see where you're coming from. There's one in particular though for me that comes into mind that I feel like should not probably get a remake because I don't know what they would even do. And that's the Monogatari series. I think the Monogatari series is perfect the way it is. I don't think that series in particular. I can't really think of any other one, but that comes into mind as harder than that one. But I think the Monogatari series, especially with Bake, I feel like what can you really do to like kind of quote unquote improve it on it? Because when you go back to watch Bake Monogatari, especially if you watch,
I was gonna ask,
yeah.
like, what if Trigger animated it?
It wouldn't work. I feel like Trigger is too. Trigger needs to have stuff happen.
But what's it called? Because Niber wasn't like crazy.
Kisniver, that's true. Yeah, you are right though. Kisniver, they're a lot more mellow.
Yeah.
Even Dungeon Meshi, you know,
Yeah.
that one, Delicious in Dungeon, that one doesn't necessarily have to have stuff happening.
If anything, it's possible. For me, wise.
Yeah,
Maybe they could do it.
For me, the reason why I say it's fine the way it is because the stylization, I feel like the individual people that made Monogatari the way they did, I feel like that style is unique to Monogatari. I think that's probably what makes it hit because I even read like the first few volumes of Monogatari, and the basic gist of the story, like the writing and everything, like you still get all that across, but watching the anime is still like it's like a fever dream almost with like a lot of the visual effects that they pull off with that. You can only really like chalk that down to the individual that's making it. So unless they get the original director on board, then it's like, okay, that one I can see getting a remake. But if not, then it's like, okay, you're just remaking the story, but like that original feel of that original is like it's not gonna hit the same. But that's just me. That's just me personally. I'm like you. I'm open to pretty much any and all remakes of most other shows. Yeah, but that one's like the only one that I can think of that's like, okay, that one I don't think is. If it ever gets remade, that one's probably not gonna hit the same, and it's probably gonna come out worse for it. But that's just me personally, just because of how close I hold the original Monogatari series. Yeah,
like an example, like this is gonna be a topic for our other conversation, but
yeah,
Trigun is how old school it looked, but look at the new school.
Yeah,
with the new one, Tramp. What's it called? Trampled.
Yeah, I believe that's what it's called. I'll look it up right now. But yeah, I do see where you're coming from though, because it's a different perspective.
Yeah, it doesn't like go by the same old school ways where it was a 2D style. It innovated itself to a 3D style.
It did.
It doesn't have to be like the original.
It did. Yeah, I think I'll still have Stampede. That's what it is. Trigun Stampede. Yeah. Yeah, I definitely see where you're coming from. I think it all depends on kind of like what the director has. Like I feel like they would definitely need to be as eccentric.
Another example, Dororo.
Yeah, well, Dororo was like a straight up. It was almost unrecognizable compared to the original.
Yeah,
but in a good way though, because that one needed a modernization. Dororo in general was like. It's so weird going back, checking out the original, and then comparing it to the new one. Because like when you see the new one, like obviously when you look at the character Dororo herself or themselves, you see you see that Osamu Tezuka influence and everything, but yeah, it's like night and day. The manga in particular is like such a tonal whiplash because you see like modern like little like bumpers and stuff on carriages and stuff that aren't meant to be there, but then you still have like the shrine. I don't know if you not spoiling, no major spoilers, but if I mention the shrine scene with the fire, then you pretty much know what I'm getting at. But that one, oof, that one still hit like pretty crazy in the manga as well.
Yeah, so to me, like, it's possible.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they shouldn't. It's possible. And if they go for it, why not, you know?
Yeah. It just has to be in good hands.
Yeah.
Don't mess it up.
Well, is there any remake that you're like, oh, man, this is the worst kind of thing? Because to me, I just have one. Well, I never saw the original, but the show itself was kind of
It was not great.
Yeah, it was a Rurouni Kenshin.
Rurouni Kenshin. I have yet
remake?
to. Yeah, I have yet to. I have not checked that out.
I don't know if they stuck too much to the original to a point where it feels like cheesy. But
yeah.
but it did feel a little cheesy through the show.
I'm honestly trying to think of a remake that I was not the biggest fan of. I have to think on that.
And another show. Well, I've heard that people enjoyed the Sailor Moon.
Oh, Crystal. That one was kind of rocky. I mean, especially with like how drastically different like they had to change up from season 2 to 3. It is crazy that it's even the same series. Like,
you know, they were basically adapting it fully from the manga. That one is.
Yeah. Because that was also another one where again, this is just 90s anime just getting a boatload of episodes, you know, with Sailor Moon. So naturally you're gonna have filler. Naturally you're gonna have like storyline deviations that aren't going to be like the original source material. And Sailor Moon was no exception. That one was truly all over the place when it came to story beats and everything. But there was still that charm. I think the thing I like about the original Sailor Moon over the manga is just how wacky and goofy it can get with the faces and everything. Like Usagi in particular was such an expressive main character. Like she wasn't just like your typical shoujo, like, you know, manga character protagonist that's like, you know, perfect at everything. No, she had her faults, and like you could see it straight up with her face and everything. She was such a kooky character in the original, and she still has that. She still has like a lot of that in Crystal in the manga too. But I don't know. I felt like the original just kind of like it was just out there. And it might just be my nostalgia talking, because I did grow up watching Sailor Moon when I was on Toonami. So, but that one was like, whew. Like,
yeah, I guess to wrap it up, I'm just gonna bring other shows too. So like Shaman King, JoJo as well, like the beginning part, of course.
Yeah. Stardust Crusaders. Like watching that OVA series versus the new one is pretty wild.
And then Fruit Basket.
Ooh, yeah, that one. Ooh, Fruit Basket's another one. I still remember the way the manga, not the manga, but the original anime ended.
And then Hunter x Hunter.
Oh my goodness. I know we're wrapping up the topic, but I forgot another big anime that absolutely needs a remake. Rosario Vampire. Oh my goodness, that anime is in desperate need of a remake.
To tell you the truth, a lot of 2000 shows.
No, Rosario Vampire, dude. Rosario Vampire is the biggest one. I don't know if you've read the manga for that one, but it is like the anime takes like the most. It is like the most like stripped away from its source material, and it's just turned into like a monster harem anime basically. But in reality, the manga pretty much turns into a shonen anime or shonen manga, like battle shonen manga. Like, have you seen Rosario Vampire?
No.
Oh, never mind. So this is just me talking to you guys. Let me know if you guys have seen Rosario Vampire and if you guys agree that Rosario Vampire needs a remake, because it absolutely needs a remake. Oh,
okay. I thought of one. I thought one show. Medaka Box.
Medaka Box. Oh, okay. So that one I'm not super familiar with.
Yeah, that show I want an actual remake for that one. And it's done by the people that did your show.
Nisio Isin. Yeah, it's the same writer. That was his his one and only, as far as I know, his one and only work that he did for Shonen Jump.
Yeah, that's what's crazy, right?
Yeah, I know.
Maybe once you see that one, maybe it'll be possible, you know?
It could be, yeah. Another one that I saw that, oh man, I just realized that probably I could have added late into was Katana Gatari, because that one's like a full-on OVA series that I feel like could probably work as, you know, for getting an anime, but I don't know. Never say never, I guess. It's been 15 years.
Hey man, it took Spice and Wolf to come back.
Yeah, like literally 15 years for that one. But that one we're going to be talking about later, so that's why I'm not mentioning too much about Spice and Wolf right now.
Let's go.
Yeah, but anyway, wrapping up with that topic, we have topic number 3, which in reality was originally 2 topics, but I decided to combine it into one. Is anime release schedule. I know that's kind of like been a huge topic, not just with anime, but just shows in general. Weekly versus bulk, and on top of that, in case they are in, you know, seasonal or week by week, the split, the dreaded part split for seasonal anime. I'm looking at you, Attack on Titan's final season.
No, there's a more.
Part 2, Electric Boogaloo. No, there's plenty though. There are.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I keep with me a good old list of anime that I'm watching, and I have to constantly look up to see what season 2s or season 3s am I watching. That is
or parts.
Yeah, that has the little part 2, core 2, second thing. It's insane. It's insane. I mean, there's 2 in particular.
But we'll get to that.
We'll get to it. We'll get to ours.
First, talk about which one do we prefer, I guess. Right?
Yeah.
The weekly or seasonal, right?
Well, it's week by week or the bulk.
The bulk.
The bulk releases.
It's the thing is that my wise.
Yeah.
To think, you know, the more you age, the more less time you have. So I feel like if you have the bulk, you don't have time to finish the whole series.
That's commitment.
Yeah. You got to be really committed to one specific show, or like 2 or 3, depending.
You have to
how much time you have.
Yeah, you have to basically just set aside like a day or 2 days to like boom, 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 watch everything.
And then weekly is it's more like easy to handle. You know, you could watch it like, and it's sometimes shows does like need to be watched completely, and then some don't.
Yeah.
Like maybe it'll hit different if I watch it complete versus bi-week kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm kind of indecisive on this one too, man. I'm in the middle, man.
It's a good topic though, right?
Yeah. That's the thing. Like, if one day they said, "Oh, we're gonna put all the anime, like the whole anime,"
yeah,
that's gonna be troubling.
Yeah, because at that point you're pretty much gambling as to whether or not
the show's
any good or not, and like. You know, you don't really have an excuse to be like, oh, let me just wait next week. Oh, let me just wait next week. No. It's out.
Yeah.
And it's up to you to watch it.
Yeah, and you don't know, maybe later on it gets good or not.
Yeah. I mean, it's all going to be out there. I think the biggest thing, the biggest factor when it comes to bulk releases versus seasonal versus weekly releases is online communities. Because nowadays, and it's been like this for like a couple decades now, online forums, online groups, fandoms, whatever you want to call them, they are going to be talking about it, and you feel left out when it's like everything just drops at once, and you're like, oh, let me just take it slowly, and then all of a sudden you're scrolling through social media, you're scrolling through Instagram or whatever, and then all of a sudden you get hit with a spoiler for something that like literally shadow dropped all at once in like 2 days. It feels bad. It legitimately feels bad because if it's like a week by week thing, it's like, okay, at least I could watch that one thing and then you're done, and then you can keep up with the zeitgeist as to what everybody's talking about, and so you don't feel bad for it.
Yeah, and you're able to enjoy like having a conversation too, like our podcast in general.
Yeah.
We love talking about the episodes in general. Some episodes are not worth talking about.
Yeah,
because there's not a lot that happened that episode, but it's worth talking about something.
And the thing is that especially for our format and how our podcast works, it kills the momentum when it comes to a lot of the shows that we covered in the past. We were pretty much forced to just talk about it week by week, despite them all dropping at once.
Yeah.
But we didn't want to have to dedicate like a whole episode just to kind of like get it done or whatever. Because we wanted to kind of like keep it in tradition with everything else that we've been watching. But unfortunately, the internet is like you put it out there, and that's it. If it gets talked about and it gets forgotten, then that's pretty much it. So, and it's kind of sad because I know of a few.
Oh, the big one we talked about it was about part 6 of JoJo.
Oh gosh, yeah, I was literally about to bring that up. Yeah, part 6 of JoJo. Oh man, rest in peace, JoJo Fridays.
Yeah,
for that one.
It kind of sucked because we didn't talk about the show. I think we stopped talking about the show. We didn't even finish the series.
Yeah.
On the podcast,
which is a shame because the ending to part 6 is like one of the most like what the like WTF like endings of all of JoJo, if not anime in general. Like it is insane just how crazy that like the story gets, but. Netflix dropped the ball on that one, and
that's the thing with Netflix too.
Yeah,
their parts as well. Yeah. Not only anime studios making parters, Netflix does it too, or they release everything.
Yep, that's perfect segue to kind of like talking about this topic that I originally had separated was the parts. Seasonal anime getting split to parts. Now, here's the thing, and I know you can relate to this too as well, David. But early on in the early 2000s, early 2010s, and even earlier, if you keep going, further and further back in time, seasonal anime used to be way longer.
Yeah, so it was not like a seasonal. It was more like a yearly kind of shows.
Literally, like.
But it'll be like every week, but it'll be a long series. So it'll be like 24 episodes, 64 episodes, 30, depending on the series.
Dude, but I remember watching. I remember first getting into Death Note, and Death Note was like one of the first anime I've ever watched online. In general, and watching that, I was like, yo, why is this anime so short? It was 37 episodes, and I used to think that 37 episodes wasn't a lot back then. I used to think it was a small number compared to like other anime at the time, because I was still watching Bleach, I was still watching Naruto, I was still watching One Piece, and like watching something like Death Note was like, what is this? This is 37 episodes. Oh man, good times.
Kind of miss those times because
I do.
I think the big issue for me was with these parts. They're confusing at this point. Especially me and Omar had this issue between each other. Like, oh, is this a part, or is this a season, or is this a season of a part?
Yeah.
Or how are we gonna rephrase this?
I think
it's so annoying too when it comes to Blu-ray. I'm sorry for people that don't get physicals, but it's difficult knowing which ones are like, oh, this is season 2 or part 2.
I know.
And I'm like, why? Just call it season 1, and then just wait until the next half comes out. We don't need to know it's gonna be a part 2. We're already gonna know it's continuing later on.
Right. Yeah, I think for the biggest one for me was Mushoku Tensei. So part 2 of season 1 felt like a felt like season 2 for me. And I remember watching that thinking that, oh yeah, this is season 2. But then I look into it, it's like season 2 is coming out in 2 years. And I'm like, wait, this isn't season 2? I thought this was season 2 when they were in the Demon Continent. I was like, no, this is part 2 of season 1. I was like, oh. And lo and behold, they're doing the same thing with Mushoku Tensei. This one going on right now is it's season 2 part 2. Not season 3. This is season 2 part 2.
Yeah. Didn't Spy Family also have it too?
Yes. They called it core, but it's essentially the same thing. It's still part 2 or whatever.
And then the slime anime as well too.
Yeah, I completely lost track of slime after season 1 because I didn't even know what was season 2 anymore. Because they even had a spin-off anime that I thought was season 2. And that one also confused me because at this point I'm like, I don't know what season you're in, bro. What's going on anymore?
Yeah, with this one, I'm always against.
Yeah.
Just let the series finish off, or let the show finish, and then we'll continue. No, some shows had even a continue kind of thing. Like if that part didn't finish, they just say to be continued.
Or it's just on hiatus. Like looking at you, Zombie 100. I mean, granted, there was a lot of like internal struggles in regards to like releasing the anime in a timely manner, but yeah, that one was a big one. And I think there was this one season. I think it was A1. I don't know if it was A1 or like some other studio, but it was the one that worked on Misfit of a Demon King. That studio had Misfit of a Demon King and 2 other series that got hit, where they had like the first 6 or 7 episodes out that season did not continue. They had no release scheduling or anything like that of the sort, and they were just on hiatus for a full season, and then get brought back until like literally the next season in that particular time slot. That's when it got brought back. That was confusing. There was a couple shows that like lost momentum that I was watching prior, but I just couldn't. I didn't finish it because I never kept track when they were coming back, and it just kind of like left.
But I guess the big it's just annoying to know when these parts come out.
Yeah,
they're just weird sometimes.
They really are, and I think to kind of close things off on this is in terms of seasonal or week by week versus bulk. I think it honestly just depends on the medium, or just kind of depends on the show. Yeah. The only thing that I am against is the split, the split between seasons. I feel as if people ought to give these studios more time to just kind of make it so that they kind of release what they're supposed to release in a timely manner. Either delay it till next year, delay it to whenever they actually have everything ready, and don't just kind of leave it like just half baked. Don't just be like, we have the first 7 episodes ready, but we're gonna release this one at indefinitely whenever. That's pretty much what killed JoJo's momentum, was not really the bulk, but it was mostly just the fact that the bulk was kind of split in between parts when they really didn't need to.
Oh, and I guess another show that it's really important to talk about too is Jujutsu Kaisen as well, the arc of basically Shibuya. That one was split into 2 because everything was rushed in the beginning. Yeah. So when they got in the halfway mark, they kind of took somewhat of a break. But then when they came back, the animation was still bad. But it's not their fault.
Yeah.
They were rushing the show way too fast. That's what I think.
Yeah, they didn't really have much breathing room in general. So Mappa, you guys have great shows. You guys have great people. You guys have great shows. Please. Please, let them breathe. Give them a rest. They don't gotta be working on 7 shows in one season and give them like movie qualities or whatever. Just
and I guess the only reason I think there's these parts in general is what you said.
Yeah.
Kind of give them a breathing room, but that's the thing with the studios. They should just slow down on trying to throw 3, 4, 5 shows at once.
Yeah.
For a specific studio to be like, hey, look, we're throwing out 1, 2, and 3 shows at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, just take it easy, man. There's so many anime out. You don't need to take out all these 3. If anything, those 3 could have done even better on their own, you know?
Or better yet, I mean, call me old school, but I'm also okay with just having one studio just work on one anime. And if that's the only anime that they're working on for like a whole year, hey, I'm cool with that too.
No, a good example that studio-wise that actually does it right is Wit Studios.
Yeah.
They don't make every show every single in 1 year they have like maybe 2 shows, I think.
Yeah.
And that's it.
And I feel like that's also kind of the reason why like they end up passing their reins quite often when it comes to their shows that they're making, is because they just want to kind of like hone in on just one show per whatever they're doing.
And I love that.
That's kind of what they're doing.
I love what
the whole deal.
They do that, you know? It makes it more they're focusing on that specific show.
Yeah.
And they don't have to like lower down the animation for the other shows they're working on. They could only work on that one and make it a beautiful show and good story, you know?
Yeah. Unlike, when you go to MAPPA, it's kind of a segue into our next topic. But, like you have like Attack on Titan by Wit Studio versus Attack on Titan versus MAPPA. You have like hand-drawn Titans versus CG Titans. And now we segue into our next topic. See what I did there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about our last topic that we have here. Topic number 4. Thoughts on CG use in anime. What are our general thoughts and how it's implemented and where we were before versus what we're going to be in the future in regards to this use of technology. So
I guess we're how it's the opposite for the Western to Japan.
Yeah,
it's like the night and day kind of thing. It's kind of like
definitely.
here. So the U.S. has honed in their CGI. Their CGI is amazing.
Yeah,
like films, shows, like some of these CGIs are so amazing.
Yep.
And when it came to Japan during back in the days, like, oh geez, the CGI was terrible.
It was not great.
Oh god,
it was not great. I mean, like one of the biggest things that I could think of in regards to really bad CG, especially like lately, was X-Arms, I think. Yeah, X-Arms.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was not great.
No, but they also use CGI for other older shows. I know. I remember Fate.
Yeah, it was
Fate Stay Night with the dragon.
The dragon.
Oh jeez.
Oh no.
Yeah, that was. There's more. I tend to want to forget what happens.
Yeah. And bad CG, like sometimes bad CG can be charming to see. Other times it doesn't look great at all. It'll just take you out of it.
It just depends on which director deals with the CGI, because some CGI is like perfectly blended.
Yeah.
So like you don't notice it, but it's there, you know?
Yeah.
And some have that CGI and you kind of notice it, but it doesn't bother you as much as it does. Bringing the Attack on Titans.
Yeah. Going back into Attack on Titan with the Titans.
For me, I love the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the fact that the Titans were CGI'd and the backgrounds actual hand drawn.
Yeah.
I like the other way around, where the backgrounds were CGI'd and the Titans and the humans were animated.
Right. Yeah.
So to me, because your main focus is not the background, it's the characters.
It's the Titans. It's
Titans
it's what's on screen.
Yeah.
For sure. I think while we're on topic with Attack on Titan, I will say that they did improve, like pretty much in real time, with how the Titans look, like with that CG look, versus like later in the series. I feel like they were getting better at it, but it's just jarring to go from season 3 to where, like, up until season 3 where everything was like all hand drawn, but then you get to season 4, you get to the final season, and it's like, oh shoot, it's all CG. Or not all CG, but like the Titans are CG. That was kind of weird.
And then I guess another example is like kind of like a upgrade in a way was Goblin Slayer season 1, where you notice the armor.
Oh yeah.
Like it's really noticeable, the armor, but I think season 2 kind of blended the background with his armor itself.
Right.
So it looks much not much better, but much like it fits in more.
You mean you're talking about Goblin Slayer, like the main character himself, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you know, armor is sometimes difficult to make. Just like creatures, it's so hard to like replicate it in animation, you know.
Yeah.
Versus a CGI where an armor piece looks easier to make, you know.
Yeah.
Because there's so much things to do. Except for a show that that was horrible on the armor. The whole show was horrible. Was Berserk.
Oh yeah, that one was rough.
That was nasty. That was a nasty looking anime.
Yeah, it really
2016 Berserk.
Yeah. It really had no reason for it to look that bad either. It was just mostly like the choice of studio was also not great either. Because like I remember looking through Mal and seeing like the studio's history, and like they were working on like it was like Tankyu, I think it was like Tankyu, but it was like a elementary school or children's anime basically. And that was kind of like their main pedigree that they were working on. And then like you see all these like bright and colorful like cutesy like characters, and then you hard cut into Guts in that poster in 2016, and it's like, that's such tonal whiplash. Why these guys? So that was rough. Going from that to that.
But at the same time, I feel like, you know, well, I'm not saying for one studio, but at least hopefully other studios learn from other studios that CGI can be evolved, and it could get better.
CGI should be looked at as a tool. I think like one of the biggest, I probably say like one of the most extremely well ways of utilizing CGI was the Lupin movie, Lupin the First. That one, oof.
It felt like a Pixar film.
Yeah, like, oh my gosh, like where have you guys been? Like they also previously, before they made Lupin, they also made the Dragon Quest movie, which also looks stupendous.
Oh yeah, it was a fun movie. I saw it.
Yeah. And yeah, so that was like both those movies. I haven't seen the Dragon Quest one, but at least with Lupin, that one was incredible. I as soon as that movie dropped on Blu-ray, I was like, I gotta pick this up.
But I do enjoy also having CGI in my animes as well, 2D shows as well. Like
yeah.
Fate is a good one.
Yeah. And
then basically a lot of Trigger shows and films where they have both basically
the
2D to 3D.
The SSS series, was it Gridman and Dyna Xenon, or like handled that beautifully with how the CG worked in that one, in both those series. Like they pretty much like stated like, this is all like CG blended with 2D, and it paid off.
And also David Productions with their CGI as well.
Oh, with the intros, right?
Yeah, no, intros.
The stands also.
Yeah, the stands, and then we get also Fire Force.
Yeah.
Also had CGI as well.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of good shows that have that
implementation.
Yeah.
I do agree. Like especially when you take the camera, like, and that's always like the best thing about CG usage is when you take shots, like the camera when it pans all around, and it's like
I was gonna say it feels like a film, you know?
Yeah.
It's cinematic.
I know. I know Chainsaw Man also they did a lot of that too, where the camera was just like panning all over.
But that one, I know it's difficult to do the actual when he changes into Chainsaw Man. I don't like when he goes CGI. I really don't. I wish they animated that.
It's the movement. I think it's the movement because CGI, like going from like, there's ways to animate your characters to to be more 2D like.
Mm-hmm.
But when you don't follow a lot of those conventional rules and stuff, and you just kind of like, but they look more stiff, and that's something that you don't want to do. Like to make your characters look stiff.
Like bringing up Lupin again, that felt so animated, like the way he moves, the way like his jaw drops and stuff like that.
The exaggeration, yeah.
You get to see the character they put into the film or show.
Yeah. Or you know what? This is kind of like moving away from anime, but Arc System works with Guilty Gear. I remember when Guilty Gear Xrd first came out, I legit did not know it was 3D models. I thought that when I first saw like the gameplay for Xrd, I legitimately thought it was like 2D.
Oh yeah,
that's how they did it.
It was
side. Yeah. It was because it was still like a side to side, like it was all stylized that way. But as soon as you see like the camera move into like their faces when they did a super, I was like mind blown. I was like, how are they doing that? Like I legitimately did not know.
You could tell because of the detail they do on their actual characters.
Yeah.
Like, they stylize it to a point where it looks 2D to 3D kind of thing, And that's what makes that, and that's what they need to do for a lot of CGI shows or films.
Yeah, like
where they have to stylize it 2D to 3D so it doesn't look off.
Like a great example is it's still going back to Arc System Works with Dragon Ball Fighters. Like Dragon Ball Fighters, like because it's stylized the same, well, not exactly the same way, but they take more attention to detail to make it look more like the anime. And a lot of the shots is like pretty much like 1-for-1 recreation of like how it looks between like the original anime versus like the game. And it's insane just how much detail they were able to like kind of pour into Fighters. It is crazy. But I guess that's also kind of like, with Superhero. I guess what were your thoughts with Dragon Ball Superhero and kind of like the CG that used?
On Superhero?
The one with Piccolo and Gohan. Have you seen that one?
Yes, I did.
Okay, yeah.
I didn't like the story. If anything, the story got me off. Yeah. I really didn't care about the story, man. Like the CGI didn't. No, to tell you the truth, the funnest scene, not even in this movie. This is on the other film, the Broly film.
Oh,
the CGI was so amazing there.
Oh my goodness,
it was intense.
Oh my goodness,
that felt amazing. They should have done
Gogeta versus Broly.
They should have done the show this way.
I know.
For Super should have been looking like this.
Yeah.
Sorry if I offend people, but I feel like this should have been animated like this.
I think Superhero still worked well. I mean, like the action in particular was handled really well. It's just that. I think the thing that kind of made it look really weird for me when it came to Superhero was just the general movement, like when it's just like funny. The downtime,
like the part where Piccolo is disguised as a red ribbon armor guy.
Yeah,
and he's doing the little run.
Yeah,
that was pretty funny.
Yeah. No, I really enjoy the humor in like a lot of the newer like movies and stuff. And the use of CG can work in tandem with what you want, but it's just a matter of keeping the integrity of what you're doing with your medium. Like if your series is known for, like again what we mentioned with Lupin, if it's known for being stylized and like having these weird faces and like these movements and stuff like that. You kind of want to stay true to like what they're doing, but also kind of like, again, Lupin. It's they were a master, kind of like what they did, and the team that handled it was just, they did it so phenomenally. It was crazy.
Yeah, I guess if you're going full CG, go full CG.
Yep.
Stay with CG.
Stay with CG, or if you can, or if you're able to work around it with as a tool, and make it not look like uncanny or awkward, like we mentioned with how the early Titans, or like how Chainsaw Man moves around.
Yeah.
Then probably best you just either stay away from CG and just kind of like make things, at least make it more convincing.
Like I say, like to me, wise, backgrounds should be like least looked at. At least if you're going CGI and 2D, background should be like more CG than the humans, because you're mostly focused on the people than on buildings. You know, you're more like into the conversation. Like, what bugs me when I'm watching a show is like when I look at the background and I just see these CGI people just walking weirdly in the background, and it could
be jarring.
It catches me off guard. Like, if there's a CGI bus, that's fine. Yeah, that passes by. I'm not focused on that. I'm focused on the conversation between these two characters. But when you have, like I said, people passing by and stuff while our two characters are talking, the background characters look jarring as hell because they're close to our characters,
All right, so question though, CGI horses in isekai anime.
Oh jeez. No, and
to bring it up, man.
Not only that, CGI enemies fighting 2D enemies are also a problem too.
Yeah.
Like, I had that issue with Overlord.
Oh yeah. Oh, I heard. Yeah.
Yeah, when we were fighting these
the lizards, right?
No, goblins.
Oh, goblins.
These goblins were like horrible looking. Not horrible looking as in like they're ugly. It's like horrible CGI, and it was upsetting just to see how bad it was.
Maybe that CGI is just making them look uglier.
Oh jeez. Then it's working, I guess.
Yeah. But yeah, like, I mean, go ahead.
No, but like stuff like that really bugs me. And oh no, that was pretty much it. Just that little part.
Okay.
It just came into my mind, that part.
I'm with you on that, man. I, like that few topics ago, literally Boondocks came in on my head. So.
And then of course, it's difficult to also make mechs 2D sometimes. It's a struggle too. I know, I love to see them 2D'd, but I'm like, geez, why CGI, man?
Thank goodness we lucked out with Witch of Mercury, because the Gundams and the mobile suits in that series, they look so good in 2D.
On 2D? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is it also Blood Orphan as well, or is that also CG?
I have not seen Iron Blooded Orphan. I think I want to see it CG. I mean, you guys can correct me in case I'm wrong in the comments.
Because I want to check that
I haven't seen Iron Blooded Orphans. Literally, I have to mention to you guys right now, I'm a full on like Gundam newbie. A lot of the Gundam series that I've seen are all like super duper recent. I've only seen 3. I've seen Witch of Mercury. I've seen G Gundam for the first time, and I guess I should say I rewatched Gundam Wing. So those are like the only ones I've seen. But so if Iron Blooded Orphans has CG, let me know let us know in the comments, because I'm curious. Yeah, with that is it for our topics. That was our good old 4 topics. We have way more topics to talk about too.
But if you guys also have topics that you guys want us to talk about, put in the comments.
Drop them below. Yes, we're pretty much an open book when it comes to like just talking about our thoughts and opinions on anime. These are just like a few that just kind of came to my head that I just kind of like wanted to jot down, and there's also a few more that we still have yet to even get through. But obviously, we're pressed for time, so we can't really talk about everything all at once. But yeah, no, it was a lot of fun just talking about these topics. I'm glad I hope you guys enjoyed them. And with that, that concludes this week's episode of the podcast. Be sure to subscribe to our channel for more podcasts like this. And like I said, just leave comments. I'll definitely help. Subscribe if you guys want to see more of what we do. Hit that notification bell. And in conclusion, I've been Robbie.
And this is David.
And we'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys.
Laters.